Jesus is unchanging, going into all the world. Share the love of Jesus, far away or door to door. You see, just like someone told you that Jesus loves you so. You must tell someone who will tell someone until the whole world knows that each one can reach one. As we follow after Christ, we all can lead one. We can lead one to the Savior. Then together we can tell the world that Jesus is the way. If we each one reach one, so will you go and labor? Will you hold high your light? One by one and two by two, we can win our world for Jesus Christ. So each one can reach one. As we follow after Christ, we all can lead one. We can lead one to the Savior. Then together we can tell the world that Jesus is the way. If we each one reach one, if we each one reach one, we can live on to the Savior. Each one reach one. You have faced the mountain of desperation. You have climbed, you have fought, you have won. But this valley that lies coldly before you casts a shadow you cannot overcome. And just when you thought you had it all together, you knew every verse to get you through. But this time all the sorrow brought on in just your heart, and reciting all those verses just for you. When answers are enough, there is Jesus. He's more than just an answer to your prayer. In your heart you'll find a safe and peaceful refuge. When answers are enough, He's there. Instead of asking why did it happen,
What is your primary dream for your children's future? What is your plan, young man? Young woman? To have a comfortable life because of a stable job or livelihood? Do you also dream for a healthy and happy family? Is growing a strong relationship with God part of that dream? Of using the best of your abilities, not only by being a blessing to your family, but also in serving others? How do you make those dreams come true? The answer could be an education from the Adventist University of the Philippines. How does one decide what is the best school? Is it the cost, distance from home, social status of the school and its students? One of the most commonly considered indicators of quality education when employers decide among applicants for a job is the performance of the graduates in the national licensure examinations. The passing rates of AUP programs are consistently higher than the national passing rate. The government recognized the continuing excellence or role in the national development of the teacher education and business administration in AUP. And it is not just in one or two professional programs where the excellence of the AUP education is nationally recognized. From preschool to graduate school, the Federation of Accrediting Agencies of the Philippines granted AUP the institutional accreditation recognition. This means the entire institution, the degrees offered by AUP, with its facilities, services, and faculty were rated as top quality. The Commission on Higher Education also granted the university with an autonomous status, indicating the highest recognition because of the AUP's commitment to excellence and institutional sustainability. Studying in AUP not only means a good professional preparation, but also greater chances of developing a healthy lifestyle. Fresh air on a wide campus, walking to classes, healthy food, quiet surroundings, exercising in the outdoors, a regular schedule of sleeping and waking up all develop a healthy body to support a sound mind. Even the limited number of times a student is allowed to go out of the campus helps a student focus on studies. An important part of an AUP education is the hours where all students are required to work in the farm, grounds, or offices, which develops the mind and body and strengthens the spirit of service. AUP education gives equal emphasis to social development, recognizing that youth is an ideal time to build lifelong relationships. Dormitory life, where one learns to relate with roommates coming from different backgrounds and cultures. Membership in many organizations and groups prepare the students for professional and family life, where strong interpersonal skills would be more important than technical know-how. The network of friendships developed in college would support graduates for the rest of their lives. Most important are the opportunities provided in AUP for students to spiritually grow. Morning and evening dorm worships, regular church services, small groups, and religious organizations are all part of the university experience in AUP. Weeks of prayer every semester remind students about their relationship with God and the meaning of life. The many ministry and mission groups help students find meaning in the greatest joy of all, helping and serving others. Spiritual growth is even part of the professional curriculum, with the required Bible courses that focus on discipleship and ministry. A mission course in each degree prepares students for integrating Christian service in their profession. Some say that going to school in AUP is only for the rich. Compared to other universities with comparable academic recognition, tuition and fees in AUP are still cheaper. True, the cost of the dorm and the food would be more than a student studying near the family home. But the cost of putting our children, who are in their formative years, in a community where they can learn a healthy and holy lifestyle from other Christian young people and teachers is worth the sacrifice. The salvation of your children, and not just their professional education, would be their eternal inheritance and is the ultimate goal of every Christian parent. To open more opportunities, the university offers scholarships for academic achievers, for children of denominational employees, and work scholarship plans for the financially limited. It may take longer if one works while studying, but a committed person can get a quality Adventist education at AUP. Financial challenges can be overcome for those who make their faith in God the main basis for their choices. Even in the time of the COVID-19 pandemic, Christian education from AUP is still the best option. Online learning is available in all courses. Even chapel period and worship services are available online. Guidance counselors still connect to students even when they are not on campus. With the pandemic, the mental health of students all over the world is intentionally addressed. And for those who still want to benefit from a face-to-face learning community, the university still offers living inside the campus a good choice while taking online classes. Choose a better future for your children or for yourself, not just for the next few years, but by God's grace, even for an eternity. Study at AUP.
Good morning, everyone. We would like to welcome you in our second Science Talk. Sir Harris, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Ma'am Herbs. Hello, good morning, everyone. We have seen video promotions and presentation of each of our university participating on this second Science Talk. We have faculty and students from different universities, namely Asia Pacific International University, AIU, in Muaklek, Thailand. We also have faculty and students from Adventist University of the Philippines. And we also have participants from Universitas Klabat, Manado, Indonesia. And we have also from Universitas Advent Indonesia in Bandung, Indonesia.
We will be watching some videos from other universities, and we will start the proper program at exactly 9 a.m. Jakarta time and 10 a.m. Philippine and Manado time.
Yes, so far, Ma'am Herbs, we have 169, that is 176 participants, and I think we are still counting. And I think we can accommodate around 1,000 participants for the Zoom webinar. Yes, okay, so let us again watch video presentations and promotions from the other universities.
If I have to talk about my Asia Pacific, I like the environment. It's so friendly. It's so green. It makes me feel like home.
You can talk to everyone, hang out with friends from all around the world. And for some reason, I feel close to my teachers. I feel like they're doing something really good.
Hey, I spend most of my time here in the car. While I am finishing my homework, I enjoy with my friends the different type of food that just my Asia Pacific can offer.
Truth. Let us keep sharing our story next week.
That's
Welcome to the campus of Universitas Klabat, a beautiful campus, yet it isn't as crowded as it used to be because classes are held virtually. Now we are entering the administration building, which is located across from the Pioneer Chapel. You will find the school's library, where students come to read and find references and resources for their studies. You'll also find the heart of UNCLOB's academics, the center that controls all academic activities. This is the postgraduate classroom of Fakultas Filsafat. And this is the business office. Other buildings in this beautiful campus also includes the ever so memorable Annex Girls Dormitory, the majestic and iconic Pioneer Chapel, UNCLOB's main church building, the beautiful and peaceful Prayer Garden, a place where students, teachers, and staff can come to pray and talk to God, Fern Wallace Dining Hall, a place to eat, to hold seminars, and is also the second church of UNCLOB for Adventist students living outside the campus. Beside the dining hall, you can find the study garden, where students can study on their own while enjoying nature. Beside the study garden is the Edelweiss Girls Dormitory that holds plenty of wonderful stories. Across from it is Crystal Boys Dormitory, also full of memories. These are UNCLOB sports facilities. The sport hall, also a function hall where the basketball court is located. Students also come here to play futsal and other sport activities. Another sport facility is the badminton court. These are the buildings of UNCLOB Adventist Laboratory School. We have UNCLOB Preschool, UNCLOB Elementary School, UNCLOB Junior High School, and UNCLOB High School. The legendary East Hall, where it all started. This is the first building used for classes and worship when the school first opened. To this day, it is still used for worship. Another sport facility is the soccer field. A lot of student association programs are held in this place. This building is called GK2, where there are tons of classrooms for different faculties. Inside this building, you'll find the computer lab. Beside it is the newest addition to the dorm buildings, the Jasmine Dormitory for girls. Behind it, you'll see Genset Hall, a dorm for laboring students who are working for self-support. Across from these dorms, you'll find the student canteen and UNCLOB Bakery. We teamed up with IndoFood to produce quality bread, cakes, and pastries, which includes UNCLOB's signature cinnamon roll with walnuts and also pumpkin bread. UNCLOB also owns a store that sells daily needs. This is the GK3 building, where you'll find the postgraduate office for Magister Management, Marketing, and also finance majors. You'll also find the lecturer's office. This is another function hall used for worship by the English-speaking students known as UIC or UNCLOB International Church. This is GK1 or the main building held for classes. This usually is packed with students, but due to online classes, there aren't many students around. Inside this building, we'll see the office of Akademi Sekretari Manajemen Indonesia Klabat or ASMI Klabat. And here we're seeing the typing lab, where now the students are using computers and keyboards to practice with. We'll also find the nursing lab. fully equipped with the right facilities so nursing students can learn and practice their skills. The nursing department also have their own studio for virtual online classes to reach students and teach the practical skills for nursing by showing them through live video. In this building, you'll also find these defense rooms where students present their student thesis. This is the auditorium where chapels are held. This is also UNCLAB's fourth church for students living far outside the campus. It is located in the 4th and 5th floor of GK1. The newest addition to UNCLAB's facility is UNCLAB Media Studio. Ever since the pandemic happened, everything is broadcasted through the UNCLAB Media Studio. And here are the residents of the Vice President for Academic Administration, the Vice President for Student Services, the residents of the President, and Vice President for Financial Administration, and the Guest House. For 55 blessed years, since 1965, UNCLAB, widely known as the Green Campus, has been progressing to be a better and bigger school. And with God's grace, it will continue to grow and prosper, bringing more people to Christ and giving glory to God Almighty.
Universitas Advent Indonesia, sebuah kampus yang nyaman, indah, dan tentram. Di sini, kami belajar dan berinteraksi. Di sini, kami ditempa untuk menjadi pribadi yang hebat, berbudi pekerti luhur, jujur, berwawasan, cerdas, dan mandiri.
Di sini, kami dididik dalam pendidikan formal maupun pendidikan rohani, agar kami dapat menjadi manusia yang berguna bagi nusa dan bangsa. Di sini, kami mengenal arti sebuah persahabatan. Menjadi seseorang yang berguna bagi sesama. Di sini, kami melangkah maju, satu demi satu, memulai perjuangan kami, mengejar harapan dan impian masa depan kami. Di sini adalah tempat kita. Awal dari kesuksesan kita. Mari bergabung bersama kami, wujudkan harapan dan gapai impian bersama Universitas Advent Indonesia.
Hai Bu, hai Bu, hai Bu.
Science is a word that involves mystery, greatness, and most of all, discovery. So, imagine starting your studies here and finishing the US. Well, that's possible in the Faculty of Science. We have the 2+2 bio program, 2 years in my Asia Pacific plus 2 years in the US. And of course, we have so much more. For that reason, think beyond the horizon. You'll have modern labs, field trips, and even a special discount. This is My Asia Pacific. See you in our next video.
Okay, so we have seen and watched the video presentations from different universities. It's nice to see once again these video presentations from different universities. We're still waiting. Oh, Ma'am Mervs, you're here. Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
good morning.
Hello. How are you, Ma'am Mervs?
Praise God, still safe from the pandemic.
Oh yeah. And we also praise God for our internet connections. Some of us, we have problem with internet connections, and we praise God for today's our talk. We have all of us have good internet connections.
Okay, so we would like again to welcome everyone. At the moment, I think we have 243 down to 242. I think one got internet problem, internet connection problem.
Oh, yeah.
It's now 243 again.
Yes.
Okay. And I think there will be more since it's only, we're still 3 minutes early from the scheduled time for our webinar.
Okay, so we can start, members. We can start by welcoming our participants. Okay, so hello, good morning, Sawadi Krap, Sawadi Ton Chao Krap in Thailand. Hello, Selamat Pagi in Indonesia. So we would like to welcome everyone in our second science webinar in cooperation with the AIU, UNAI, AAUP, UNAI, AIU, UD Club, Science Association, with the theme Catalyzing Scientific Culture.
Okay, as you see, this is our second science talk webinar. We had the first one during the early months. I think it was February, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, we had the first one in the first quarter of the year. And we are excited to have the second science talk webinar today. So, by the way, reminder to everyone, we would like you to please rename yourselves in our Zoom so that we will know which university you're from. So the format is like, for example, you're from Unay, put Unay, then underscore your name. Okay. So to those of you with the names that are not edited yet, I can still see some people with their names, with the names without their university. Please don't forget to put the name of your university like AUP underscore Mervin Pedro or Unay underscore your name. Okay, so do not forget that. So I think, sir, while the participants are renaming themselves in the Zoom, may we welcome them. Welcome everyone from different parts of the world. So I think we can start by doing a roll call by university.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so when we call your university, you can, kasi we cannot see everybody. So you can click the thumbs up button, or you can also click the raise hand button to be recognized. So as we call your university, please do so. So let us welcome our faculty and students from Asia Pacific International University, AIU in Wak Lek, Thailand. Oh, we have a lot here, Ma'am Mervet.
I think there are, I'm counting here on my screen, there are 2 people with AIU, 3 people, 3 people with, I think some have not edited their name yet. Okay, so you're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. You can now put, yeah, thank you for raising that hand. Okay, Ma'am Merbs, next.
Okay. Now we also have our participants from Adventist University of the Philippines in Silang, Cavite. Please click the right, the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen.
Oh, we have
a lot.
And counting. I can see, Ma'am Merbs, we have 49, 50, no, 50, including us, of course.
Yes. We're raising our hand too. Okay. We have a lot of participants from Adventist University of the Philippines.
Yeah, so far we have 63 and counting. All right. So next, let's welcome our participants from Universitas Klabat, Manado, Indonesia, or UNCLAB. Can you raise that hand button? Click that hand button so we can recognize you. Oh, we have 17, 18, 20, and we're still, yeah, there's a lot more. So welcome from to the participants from UNCLAB.
Okay. Then we also have the participants from Universitas Advent Indonesia, or Unay, from Bandung, Indonesia. Can you please click the right hand? Oh, there. Okay, so at the moment we have 31, 35, and counting, still counting, 40 plus participants from Universitas Advent Indonesia. By the way, we had the similar Bandung, Indonesia, or Unay, and AIU have the same time zone. So they are, it's 9 o'clock there now. And for us, Adventist University of the Philippines and UNCLAB in Manado, we have the same time zone. So it's 10 a.m. here and in Manado. Let's not forget those that are not affiliated in these universities. I think there are some people who have participated as well that are not enrolled, or maybe they are working in an Adventist institution, or that. Can you please click the right hand button to those of you who are not enrolled in any of these universities?
All right. I think we have a few, 11, 10. Yes. Yeah. Some already are still raising their hands, of course. Now we have 9 participants. So I think are not affiliated with any of this university, but they are joining us this morning, Ma'am Merbs.
Yes, so we welcome everyone, and we are happy to see you online. Okay, so I think, sir, we have to introduce the programs that these different universities are also offering. So we will start with the Unay Faculty of Science. By the way, Unay is is in Bandung, Indonesia. Their Faculty of Science is offering biology and pharmacy.
Yes, and from the Adventist University of the Philippines, College of Science and Technology, they are offering biology, chemistry, mathematics, electronics engineering, library, and information science.
And in AIU, their Faculty of Science, they're offering bioscience, but I think they will be adding more, and we look forward to the new programs of AIU in Faculty of Science.
And from UNCLAB or Universitas Klabat in Manado, Indonesia, they're offering agri-technology.
Okay, so before we start with the opening prayer, may we remind everyone of some webinar etiquettes. Okay, so first, make sure that your mic is on mute mode so that the webinar will not be interrupted. So make sure that it's on. Again, make sure that you check, okay? Make sure that it's on mute mode. And later during the question and answer, we might be allowing some people to unmute, okay, to ask their questions. Now, second reminder, we have 4 speakers for today. Now, you can ask your questions by typing it in the chat box. Since we don't have question and answer box, okay, you can type it in the chat box. Even during the time the speakers are speaking, we will be choosing from it, okay? And those questions will be read. Some of those questions will be read during the question and answer portion, okay?
Okay.
So let's start our program by opening the program with a prayer by Juniarmi Waburuntu from Universitas Klabat.
Okay, let's pray. Dear Father in the kingdom of heaven, Father whom we always praise and exalt, this morning we thank you for your blessing and protection to all of us, that with your permission, we also have the opportunity to do this second Science Talk series. We ask that you may bless this event so that with your intervention, it can run and be carried out according to your will. Lord, we pray specifically for the speakers who will present their respective materials. May your intervention and power be upon the presenters so the materials that will be shared be only for the praise and glory of your name, and that the knowledge we get may be applied in our lives. Father, bless all of us, students, lecturers, and practitioners with our respective fields of knowledge, that through this program, we may get a lot of benefits and knowledge for the development of performance, and thus we can share to others the knowledge that we get from this second Science Talk. Father, bless all of the equipments and devices that are currently being used so that they can function well and this event can be carried out well and successfully. Lord, bless all the participants and even all the committee members who have arranged this program. May with your intervention, this program may run well and may bring blessing to all of us. This is our prayer, Lord. May you forgive us from all our sin. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen.
Okay, to welcome us, let us hear from Dr. Bartolomeus D. Nayagolan, the president of UNAI Universitas Advent Indonesia.
Good morning and shalom to all. Greeting from UNAI from the Green Campus. My voice is clear?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, thank you. To my honorable university president of 4 universities and and dean and college and faculty of science, my distinguished fellow professor, lecturer, teacher, student, and also our guests. Science Talk is a celebrative from carried out by 4 Adventist University in area Southern Asia Pacific Division or SSD. Asia Pacific International University, AIU Thailand, Adventist University of the Philippines, AUP Philippines, Universitas Adventist Indonesia, UNAI Indonesia, Universitas Klabat, UNCLAB, Indonesia. We are currently participating in the second Science Talk with each international scientific forum, which will continue from time to time. To speak, discuss in the Science Talk program in special field of science, natural of life science, which cover a lot or area field that include biology, chemistry, agriculture, pharmacy, mathematics, and so on. Anything from agriculture and nanotechnology and biotechnology should give clarify and strong bound between us and our creator. Science is the systematic truth and things about how to explain, to explore, to build, and to organize element and organism in the universe. Reaching Industry 4.0 is a clearing situation for us to solve and to live. Moreover, this COVID-19 pandemic situation has changed dramatic our behavior and how we carry out life. For example, by using online media such as the Zoom meeting, the things we used to be difficult previously become possible at this moment. Through this event, I hope we will learn a new idea from each other, which we could adopt future improve our work in this area of science. There have been many interesting and useful presentations, and I believe many good lessons learned in this Science Talk. As the spirit from our Ministry of Education in Republic Indonesia to develop, they call it Kampus Merdeka or Campus of Freedom, which student may take as much as credit from another campus in Indonesia, even more around the global. It will give more impact on how they will think and behave in their future career and life. At the last, I hope this sign talk could continue to give us greater advantage. I wish that our spirit in the International Scholar celebration could benefit each to our university. So we could develop our university better and strengthening our celebration toward joint teaching and research. On behalf of the community, I officially would like to open this event. Let's process the program and thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nainggolan. We will be hearing a special music from Universitas Adventist Indonesia Scientia Choir, okay, from Faculty of Science. This is actually a combination of students and faculty and staff of Faculty of Science of UNAI. Okay. So let's now give the time to the special music.
There are moments in our journey following the Lord, where God illuminates every day. There are times when circumstances make perfect sense to us as we try to understand each move He makes. When the path grows deep and our questions have no answers to heed, bow the knee, trust the heart of your Father when He answers goes beyond what you can see. Bow the knee, lift your eyes toward heaven and believe the one who holds eternity. And when you don't understand the purpose of His plan, in the presence of the King, bow the knee. There are days when clouds surround us and the rain begins to fall. The cold and longing winds won't cease to blow. And there seems to be no reason for the suffering we feel. We are tempted to believe God does not know. When the storms arise, don't forget we live by faith and not by sight. Bow the knee, trust the heart of your Father and the answer goes beyond what you can see. Bow the knee, lift your eyes toward heaven and believe the deep, and when you don't understand the purpose of His plan, in the presence of the King, bow the knee, bow the knee, bow the knee. Bow the
Okay, to introduce our first speaker this morning, let us have Dr. Edwin A. Balila, Dean of the Adventist University of the Philippines College of Science and Technology.
A pleasant morning to everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce the first two speakers we have for the second science talk. The first speaker is no other than Dr. Anthony Swami Tangia from Asia Pacific International University with the title Determination of Iron Content in 6 indigenous green leafy vegetable consumed in Moklik, Thailand, using a spectrophotometer. He is married to Jebamani Anthony, who is also the chair and at the same time lecturer in English Literature, Department of Arts and Humanities at the same university, AIU, Thailand. He is blessed with 2 kids, a son and a daughter, Aldris Titus Anthony and Aldrina Chelsea Anthony. He obtained his Bachelor of Science degree in General Chemistry and has 2 master's degree, namely General Chemistry, Masters of Science in General Chemistry, and Master of Philosophy in Chemistry in 1996 and 1997, respectively. And he obtained his Doctor of Philosophy in Chemistry in the year 2011 at Vinayaka Mission University, Salem, India. He has a wide experience when it comes to teaching. He started teaching in 1997 in King Nandivarman Arts and Science College in India, then in SDA Junior College in India, Plais Adventist College in India as head and lecturer, Department of Chemistry, then at Spicer Adventist University, being an assistant professor in chemistry and acting dean of science, School of Science. And he also served as head and senior lecturer, Department of Chemistry at the University of Eastern Africa, Baraton. And presently, he is connected to Asia Pacific International University, Moklik, Saraburi, Thailand, as senior lecturer in chemistry. His publication includes 50 publications, including 3 Scopus journals. And that's Dr. Anthony Swami Tangia. Our second speaker is in the person of Dolly Sitomyang from Universitas Advent, Indonesia. Mr. Dolly Sitomyang will talk about The Earth is on fire, the effect of global warming to humankind. Mr. Dolly Sitomyang is married with 2 daughters, and he obtained his BA Biology in UNAI 1983 and has a Master of Public Health degree obtained at Adventist University of the Philippines. His working experience include Health Project Officer, Project Concern International, Health Project Officer World Vision International, Country Director ADRA Indonesia, and at present, a biology lecturer Universitas Advent Indonesia. And he teaches several courses or subjects, namely general ecology, environmental science, general zoology, general botany, plant anatomy and physiology, cell biology, general biology, health and safety workplace, anatomy and physiology, physiology of Christian education, English for medical profession, basic health principle, and the Bible and evolution. Without much ado, let us all lend our ears as they will present to us their topics. Good afternoon again.
Good morning.
I mean, good morning.
Let us now give our time to Dr. Tanja.
Okay. So I'm presenting now.
Yes, sir.
Can I share my Can you give the permission to share my screen? Yes.
Yes, I think so, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Are you able to see my PowerPoint?
Yes, sir.
Yes, good morning, very well.
So today I'm going to present on a topic, determination of iron content in the 6 indigenous green leafy vegetables consumed in Moklak, Thailand using spectrophotometer, that is by using UV spectroscopy. So this is research we're done with my students, Aldrich Titus Anthony and another students, Vilay. Both are our science program students. So green leafy vegetables play a substantial role in human nutrition and are essential for a healthy life. They provide an adequate amount of dietary fibers, mineral, vitamins, and other nutrients, and they are beneficial for the maintenance of good health and prevention of various diseases. So the green leafy vegetables contain various minerals such as calcium, iron, copper, phosphorus, zinc, fluoride, and sodium. And these minerals play a significant role in growth and metabolism. One essential transition metal in the living system is iron, which carries oxygen to the tissues and is responsible for the appropriate protection against microbes. So iron playing a significant role to fight against microbes. Microbes means bacteria, microorganisms. Also, vegetables are an essential part of the diet since they contribute proteins, vitamins, iron, calcium, and other valuable nutrients to us. The total iron present in an average adult is 40 grams. Usually, our body, healthy body should contain 40 grams and is mostly stored in the spleen, liver, and bone marrow. Iron deficiency is the most common and widespread nutritional deficiency globally. And it has been estimated that 30 to 40% of the world's populations are iron deficient. We know that due to iron deficiency, a lot of sickness occur in our body system, anemia, like other sickness. Iron is the fourth most abundant element on the earth. However, its deficiency in humans is common. Though iron is the fourth most common abundant element, but 30 to 40% of total populations are facing iron deficiency. The contribution of iron in humans is dominantly through our diet. So the RDA for iron has been set at 8 milligram for men, 18 milligram for women, and 27 milligram for pregnant women per day. So we must consume the iron source. That is, men, we must consume 8 milligrams. For women, 18 milligrams. Especially pregnant women, they must take a lot of iron. We know that when we go to, when the mother go to her doctor, always the doctor prescribes iron tablets because iron is playing a significant role for pregnant women. So our main objective of this research is to determine the concentration of iron and the moisture composition of the locally available green leaf vegetables. So we have collected 6 green leaf vegetables from our market. They are holy basil, the locally called bay cabro, sweet basil is called bay horapa, amarnus spinacis is called Pak poem, lettuce, Pak salad, Chinese kale, Pak hana, Coquinia, Pak tumlan. So I applied 3 different methods. Means we have analyzed 3 different ways. Means analyzed iron from fresh vegetables, that is raw vegetables. Also we cooked the vegetables. Then also we collected their pot liqueurs. So we have done the comparative study from raw vegetables, cooked vegetables, and its pot liqueur. So to analyze its iron content, I applied a spectrophotometric method. It's called spectrophotometer, or it is called UV spectroscopy. So UV spectroscopy method was used to determine the concentration of iron from raw, cooked, and its pot liqueur at 480 nanometer. And the moisture content of this fresh GLV samples are calculated by using the formula that is percent moisture content, weight percent. The formula applied is x minus y and 100 divided by x, means x is the weight of the wet GLV sample and why is the weight of the dry GLB sample? The solutions means what are the stock solution we prepared? That is 100 parts per million iron 3 nitrate, or we can say ferric nitrate solutions. So how I prepared that preparation is shown on the PPT. Also prepared 0.1 molar hydrochloric acid solutions. Also 0.1 molar potassium thiocyanate solution. So these are the stock solutions. Now, in order to calibrate the curve, means to prepare standard curve, we prepared 5 different standard solutions. That is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 parts per million. You know that the parts per million is also called microgram per ml. That is 1 parts per million is equal to 1 microgram per ml. So on this different standard solution prepared from the stock solutions, iron 3 nitrate solution, that is called ferric nitrate stock solutions. So this is the calibration curve of iron using that is standard solutions. The regression analysis was used to assess the linearity of UV visible calibration curve. So the correlation coefficient, that is R square, is equal to 0.9984, indicated that a highly positive correlation between the observance and concentration. So when we do some research on the statistics, people know that the R square should be equal to 1 or close to 1. So when we calibrate the curve, the R square has come 0.9984, almost close to 1. So it shows that highly positive correlation between the observance and concentration. Now, how I analyze this sample? So here I'm going to explain how we analyzed the green leafy vegetable cyan content. So the GLB samples were washed using deionized water and cut into small pieces. Then they were air dried at room temperature in the laboratory for 2 weeks. Then 2 grams of dried GLB samples were taken in a crucible and heated at 200 to 250 degrees Celsius over Bunsen burner until the sample was completely turned into a black ash, and then it was grounded into fine powder. So we burned the powder, not directly using a crucible. So we got a black powder. Now, from which we have taken 1 gram of the ash sample, to which 20 milliliter of 0.1 molar hydrochloric acid solution was added carefully and stirred well. Then they were filtered to collect filtered, and to the filtrate, 10 ml of filtrate was mixed with 5 ml of 0.1 molar potassium thiocyanate solution and shaken well. Then the sample solution were analyzed using UV spectroscopy, or called UV visible spectrophotometer, by fixing the nanometer, that is 480. The blank solution was 0.1 molar hydrochloric acid. You know, when we analyze some sample, always we need to use a blank solution. I need to explain more. Maybe whoever have doubt, he can email to me about this procedure. Now, how we analyzed the iron content from cooked samples and it's a part liqueur. So the green leaf vegetables were weighed on a scale prior to cooking to determine the iron content. As I explained, the green leaf vegetables were rinsed in deionized water and then boiled in deionized water for 5 to 10 minutes. After cooking, the samples were removed. Immediately we placed in ice for 5 minutes. Why? Suppose we keep it outside for a long time, it will be overcooked. In order to avoid overcooking, immediately we kept the cooked sample in ice. So now the cooked green leaf vegetables we filtered and we collected residue and the filtrate. Now the residue means in the cooked GLV samples again we air dried for 2 weeks, as I explained earlier. 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks the sample dried, and we made ash, as I explained earlier, and the rest all procedure is similar to what I explained, similar to this one, same method. Now, how we analyzed the iron content from its part liqueur. So 10 to 5 ml of each of green leaf vegetable part liqueur, 10 ml of 0.1 molar hydrochloric acid solution was added carefully, and then 5 milliliter of 0.1 molar potassium thiocyanate solution was added. So now then the solution means a sample were analyzed using a UV spectrophotometer at same nanometer 480. Here also we used 0.1 molar hydrochloric acid as the blank solutions. So now finally I'm coming to result and discussion what we got. So the minimum and the maximum iron concentration. The first one is the uncooked. The uncooked sample, you can see that the holy basil contain 1.69 parts per million, whereas sweet basil contain 8.44 parts per million. Now let us see cooked sample. The cooked sample, lettuce contain at least content of iron, that is 0.235, whereas cochineal contains 3.82 parts per million, that is called microgram per ml. Whereas part liqueur, if we look at this table, the iron content in part liqueur has a larger iron concentration. Usually most of us, what we do, when we cook something, some vegetables, we throw its part liqueur. Part liqueur means the boiled liquid. We should not do. By looking at this table, we know that its part liqueur contain the higher concentration of iron. For example, this part liqueur, and among this part liqueur, Chinese kale contain 3.793 parts per million, whereas cochineal part liqueur contain 21.41 parts per million. So among this sample, the cochineal part liqueur contain higher concentration of iron. Now, the percentage difference of cooked, uncooked, and their part liqueur is shown here. That is, so it was observed that there was a difference in iron concentration in green leaf vegetable foods compared to the conventional consumption method of cooking. So we can see that the part liqueur has a higher difference of this iron content. So this is the comparative iron content among uncooked cooked and is partly juice. Juice means partly cured. Look at this graph. It shows that among this sample, the cochineal partly cured contain higher iron concentration. As I told you earlier, it contains 21.41. Next one is among the uncooked vegetables, the sweet basil contain higher iron content. Now, among the cooked vegetables, cochineal contain higher iron concentration. Now, the moisture content. So, the table 3 shows the moisture content percentage of GLB. So, here the moisture content were analyzed only from raw GLB, because when we cook, we cannot compare its moisture content. Only we can analyze the moisture content from the raw GLB sample. So the moisture content of the analyzed raw GLB contains the highest for lettuce, the highest iron content, moisture content from lettuce, and the lowest value for amardas, that is 66.18%. So in conclusion, the part liquor of cochineal contain 21.41 parts per million, had the highest iron content, whereas the least concentration was found in cooked lettuce, that is 0.235 microgram per ml or parts per million. Raw lettuce showed the highest moisture content of 97.74%, and raw amardas appear to have the least moisture content, 66.18%. So the final conclusion is all the investigated green leaf vegetable sample contain iron. However, there were variation among the cooked, uncooked, and their part liquor. So the green leaf vegetable part liquor had a higher iron concentration than the cooked, uncooked green leaf vegetables. So the final conclusion is the cooked GLBs with their part liquor consumption would be the best option to obtain larger iron quantities. So after analyzing this iron content, I would recommend you that when we cook some green leaf vegetable items, we should not throw its part liquor, that is juice. You must consume the cooked vegetable plus its part liquor in order to get more iron content, because iron play a significant role in our body system to fight against microbes, this bacteria, especially during this we are in pandemic, we are living in pandemic world. We need to we cannot depend only on vaccines and medicines. You must depend on our body immune system. So iron also play an important role to fight against all these viruses or bacteria, whatever. So I'm very grateful to our science department dean and the Asia Pacific International University administrator for providing the laboratory facilities and financial support to carry out this research. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to present this research paper. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tanja. I've learned a lot from your topic. Some of you are not so fond, especially some of my students, okay? Not all of you are fond of eating vegetables. But as you see in the discussion done by Dr. Tanja, you have to eat your vegetable and the soup as well. It's more nutritious to get more iron, okay, when drinking the soup. Now, reminder everyone, I'm checking the chat box and we still cannot see some questions. We would like to remind everyone that you can type in your, oh, my video is not on, sorry about that. Yeah, you can type in your questions in the chat box and we will go over it and choose from the questions posted in the chat box during the question and answer portion. Okay, so let us now give our time to our second speaker, Dr. Dolly Sutumea from Umunay. His topic is about the Earth is on fire, the effect of global warming to humankind. Okay.
Thank you, Merbeth. Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to give my presentation this morning to our students, faculty, and staff in 4 universities. Let me share a screen my Can you see the slides already?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is not a research presentation, but it is about information about the global warming effect on humankind. The effect of global warming to humankind. That's my topic this morning. You remember this teenager, Greta Thunberg. She was elected as the Person of the Year by Time magazine in 2019 because she consistently, effortlessly go to around the world and tell the people the dangers of global warming. And she gave some solution to do that. She is very remarkable teenager. And we know that global warming now on Earth can affect so many aspects of life that can be detrimental to our living our life in this Earth. Global warming is the long-term heating of Earth's climate system observed since the pre-industrial period between 1850 and 1900 due to human activities, primarily fossil fuel burning, which increases heat-trapping greenhouse gas levels in Earth's atmosphere. So our temperature on Earth now is higher than pre-industrial period, where there was no industry and it was based on agriculture among people on this Earth. Carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere before industrial revolution is 280 parts per million. And on the year of 2018 is 406 parts per million. The carbon dioxide levels will give a significant effect on the increase of the global temperature on Earth. That is why we will see how the carbon dioxide levels increase in the atmosphere. Now, we know already how it happened. When the sunlight enters the Earth, the infrared light will be absorbed in the Earth and re-radiated. Some of the infrared infrared light will be re-radiated to atmosphere. And in this atmosphere, there are several greenhouse gases, and mostly is carbon dioxide and methane. The carbon dioxide will trap the infrared light of sunlight. And actually that is a natural phenomenon. God already designed that way, that in the atmosphere, the carbon dioxide will trap the infrared light in order to maintain the Earth's temperature in a state where humankind can live healthily and peacefully. If there is no such system, the Earth's temperature will be minus 18 degrees Celsius. Very cold. Nobody can live in this kind of temperature. But because of the carbon dioxide trapping of the infrared light, it can maintain the Earth's temperature to 15 degrees Celsius average. In that temperature, people can live peacefully, healthily, and happily. That is the nature phenomena of the trapping of carbon dioxide to infrared light. But change after the pre-industrial period, we can see here by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change that the carbon dioxide emissions increase. Yeah. This is the chart to show that the carbon dioxide emission is increased. If the carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere increase, it will increase also the capability of the carbon dioxide to trap the infrared light of the sunlight, and it will affect to the increase of the temperature on the atmosphere of the Earth. That is what happened when the carbon dioxide level increase. This is the chart where the carbon dioxide emissions in China, United States, India, and Russia are the highest, among the highest in the world. These are some of the greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, chlorofluorocarbons, hydrofluorocarbons, and then halogens. Yeah, carbon dioxide increase level in the atmosphere due to the fossil fuel burning like gasoline, and then coal and gas. Yeah, especially coal, 70 to 75%. And methane from the rice paddies, guts of the cattle and termites, and nitrous oxide from the fossil fuel burnings and fertilizers, but mostly comes from the carbon dioxide and methane. And this chart will show you that 64% greenhouse gas in the atmosphere come from the carbon dioxide, and about 17% from methane. These are all give the contribution of the increase the carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere. You see, the major source of carbon dioxide comes from the world's thousands of coal burning power and industrial plants. See, we have coal burning power plant around the world, industrial plants around the world, which use coal as their energy power, and it gives the contribution to the increase of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Look at this, the greenhouse gas emissions, the natural gas facility, the petroleum refinery, which gives contribution to the increase of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And the major source of carbon dioxide also come from the 700 million gasoline burning motor vehicles, and 550 million of them are cars. Yeah? is roaming around in many cities around the world, in 193 countries in the world. Can you imagine 700 million gasoline burning motor vehicles? And then aeroplanes, trains, ships, these are giving the increase of the level of carbon dioxide on the atmosphere. Deforestation also give contribution of the increase of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Trees and other vegetation remove carbon dioxide from the air and use it for photosynthesis. That's how it works. The trees and vegetation will take carbon dioxide from the air to be used for their photosynthesis. To cutting down trees to convert forested land to other uses, primarily agriculture, releases this carbon. That's how it works. If we cut down the trees, it will release their carbon and it will give a more carbon dioxide to the environment. That's why we try not to cut down trees, especially in the forest.
Hindi nga minsan sa energy magapot sa once na na-touch na yung surface ng Earth.
Another major source of methane is
hydrosphere.
It comes from biological sources and as a byproduct of fossil fuel. Several kinds of microorganisms that are particularly abundant in wetlands and rice paddies release methane into the atmosphere. Methane is number 2 sources of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Methane releasing of microorganisms are also found in large numbers in the gut of termites and various kinds of ruminant animals such as cattle. Thus, these animals release large amounts of methane into the atmosphere. Natural gas is primarily methane, and oil and coal contain some methane as well. Thus, any activity related to fossil fuel use has the potential to release methane. We can see now the Earth's temperature increased since 1860 until presently. The graph is increasing the temperature of the Earth. This is the global average temperature increase from 1860 until 2020. Increase. The graph is showing that the temperature is increasing. The July 2021 global surface temperature was 0.93 degrees Celsius above the 20th century average of 15.8 degrees Celsius. This is the evidence that our Earth temperature is increasing every year. This highest for July in 146-year periods. So after pre-industrial period, we are increasing our Earth temperature. Consequences of global warming. Poorer nations are generally more vulnerable to the consequences of global warming. These nations tend to be more dependent on economic activity that is climate sensitive, such as subsistence agriculture, and lack the economic resources to adjust the changes that global warming may bring. So this happens many in the poorer nations around the world. Consequences of global warming on sea level and coastal areas. Rising sea levels, flooding of low-lying islands and coastal cities because of the melting of the ice in Antarctica. When the ice melts in Antarctica, it gives the contribution to the rising sea levels, flooding of coastal estuaries, wetlands, and coral reefs, beach erosion, disruption of coastal fisheries, contamination of coastal aquifers with salt water. And there are many cities will be flooded because of the rising sea levels. And it will disrupt also the coastal fisheries because the fish, when it feel warm at the upper level of the sea, the fishes will go down deep into the water. So very few fish in the upper level of the sea. That's why the fishermen will hardly find fish anymore, because those fishes already go down deep into the water. That's the other effect of global warming. We can see now the ice in here keep on reducing the ice content until right now. Consequences of global warming on forest. Changes in forest composition and locations. Disappearance of some forest. Increased fires from drying. Loss of wildlife habitat and species. And it can lead to the extinction of wildlife. It's very, very sad that our forests now are decreasing in the amount of hectares because people are trying to convert our forests to the agricultural land. Consequences of global warming on human health. Increased death from heat and disease, disruption of food and water supplies, spread of tropical diseases to temperate areas, increased respiratory disease and pollen allergies, increased water pollution from coastal flooding. These are all the effect of global warming into the human health. Consequences of global warming on human population, increased death, more environmental refugees, increased migration. Living in a refugee camp is very, very painful because no school available, the food is very limited, and they have to leave their belongings from where they were originally staying. And it gives a very sad experience to those who have to be refugees because of the consequences of the global warming. And there is a consequences also in water resources, change in water supply, decreased water quality, increased drought, increased flooding. Because of the rising sea level, water will go to the land, and when we dig water in the land, some of the water will taste salty. So it changes in water quality. Consequences of global warming in agriculture, shift in food growing areas because of the climate change. In Indonesia, we usually have 6 months of dry season and 6 months of rainy seasons. But right now, we have more months in dry seasons and less in the rainy seasons. Changes in crop yields, increased irrigation demands, increased pest, crop diseases, and weeds in warmer areas. And this will lead to the low production of agricultural land. And it may cause starvation also among some people in this world. Consequences of global warming in biodiversity. Extinction of some plant and animal species because of their habitat will destroyed. Loss of habitats when we try to clear the land in the forest to make it into the agricultural land. Disruption of aquatic life. This is the effect in biodiversity. Consequences in weather extremes, prolonged heat waves and drought, increased flooding from more frequent, intense, and heavy rainfall in some areas. You see, intense typhoon, for example, more frequent because of the weather extremes affected by the global warming. There are 4 schools of thoughts considered about global warming. There are scientists who do not believe on global warming. They say, do nothing. They don't believe on global warming. They say that it is just a natural phenomena. Second approach is to do more research before acting. Let's do research before acting. But it may be too late when the research goes for years and something will happen because of the global warming. The third approach is that we should act now to reduce the risks from climate change. Act now to reduce the risk. There is a fourth approach, is to act now as part of no regret strategy. So it may not have increase in the problem of the global warming in the future, maybe, but fourth approach say that we have to act now as part of the no regrets strategy. Human activity solutions on global warming for prevention. What we can do to prevent. Cut fossil fuel use, especially coal. Shift from coal to natural gas. Improve energy efficiency. Shift to renewable energy resources. Reduce deforestation. Use sustainable agriculture. Limit urban sprawl because cities' life is contaminated with so many carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere. Reduce poverty and slow population growth, because the more population, the increase of population, the more need food, clothes, and basic needs for the human beings. So this is for the prevention of global warming human activities solution. And to clean up is remove carbon dioxide from smokestack and vehicle emission. They have tools in doing this one. Store, sequester carbon dioxide by planting trees. The more we plant trees, the more the trees will absorb carbon dioxide to their structure. Sequester or store carbon dioxide underground. There is a system that they can put carbon dioxide underground and store or sequester carbon dioxide in the deep ocean. So there is a system now to put the carbon dioxide in the deep ocean, but we don't know what will happen in the future when the carbon dioxide level in the deep ocean will be increased. There is a practical solution about global warming. Germany's initiative. Germany is one of the countries in the world which is very much concerned about the global warming problem. Providing 35% of electricity from renewable resources by 2020 and 80% by 2050. And so far, they already succeeded in doing so. Low interest loans were provided to upgrade the energy efficiency of buildings. Energy use certificates were required for buildings. This is some activities in Germany. A tax was imposed on the use of coal. The more coal they use, the bigger tax they have to pay. A tax was imposed on motor freight that varied with the distance traveled. Blue Angel eco-labeling of appliances was established in order to make sure that the appliances is ecosystem, good method to reduce the carbon dioxide emission. And a carbon dioxide emissions trading law was enacted, and low interest loans were provided for the installation of solar energy technology. Cutting electrical consumption 50% by 2050 by improving energy efficiency. Providing 18% of all energy from renewable sources by 2020 and 60% by 2050. And in 2013, it had about 11% of the world wind turbine capacity in Germany. About 29% of electricity was produced from renewable resources. As a result of these policies, energy efficiency has improved and carbon dioxide emissions have declined. So These are all the solutions, but all the solution that we already read a while ago is only temporary. As we know that human beings in this earth is striving for wealth, striving for more cars, more appliances, more houses. Very difficult to limit our eagerness to increase our standard of living. So in my opinion, to end my presentation this morning, I present to you the spiritual solution. The ultimate solution is the second coming of our Savior Jesus Christ. That's the only solution in facing the global problems in this world. So brothers and sisters, let us be prepared. When Jesus comes, we will go to the new earth, where there is no more global warming problems, and we will be living together with our Savior Jesus Christ. This is the end of my presentation this morning. Thank you, and God bless you.
Amen, Sir Dolly. So we thank you, Sir Dolly Situmayang, for the informative topic on the effect of global warming. So a lot of consequences of global warming in the levels of the sea, affecting sea life, also affecting forest land and agricultural lands, and most especially its biodiversity. It's also especially is affecting human health. So if there's been extreme heat or poor air quality, increased complications from underlying problems of our, let's say, our condition, our respiratory problem like asthma, renal failure, preterm birth, and so on and so forth. As temperature rises, there will be more heat-related illnesses and death in both urban and rural areas. But the good thing, Sir Dolly, the most important solution is Jesus' second coming. So there will be no more problems with our environment and problems with death and dying. So let us wait for that second return of our Lord Jesus Christ. Again, if you have any questions on the topic presented, can you please address the questions to whom the question is addressed to, and also write it in our chat box. Also to remind everyone to fill up the attendance form and evaluation form in our chat box. Okay, so let us now have a special music from teachers, staff, and students, an Angklung ensemble from Universitas Advent Indonesia.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Unay Angklung Ensemble. I remember the first time I went to Unay, we heard them play. Okay, I hope we pray that hopefully next year we'll be able to see them again in person. Okay, so the introduction of the third and fourth speaker will be given by the Faculty of Agricultural Dean of Universitas Klabat, Dr. Amelia Tanasali.
Thank you, Merbert. Okay, right now I would like to introduce to you our third and fourth speaker. The third speaker is Dr. Abraham Peral Raka from Adventist University of Philippines. He is a mathematician. Background on his education, he obtained his Doctor of Philosophy in Mathematics from Ateneo de Manila University in 2018. Bachelor of Science major in Mathematics from Adventist University of the Philippines in 2007. Research interests: Henstock-Kurzweil integration theory and graph theory. Research assistantship as research assistant in 2019 at Department of Mathematics, Ateneo de Manila University. Teaching experience: undergraduate BS Mathematics program, undergraduate BSA Mathematics program, graduate MS program, and graduate PhD program. Mentoring experience: advisor 10 BS Mathematics students from June 2010 until now. Dr. Abraham Raka has been awarded as the best paper presentation in 2017 Mathematics Teacher Association of the Philippines Tertiary Level Annual Convention. He will presenting a material titled The N Integral. The fourth speaker is a guest speaker representing Universitas Klabat, Dr. Helen Tuhumuri. Right now, she is a senior lecturer at the Department of Agricultural Product Technology, Faculty of Agriculture, Universitas Patimura, Ambon. She has been a lecturer since 2010. Little background on her education. She finished her bachelor degree in agronomy, Faculty of Agriculture, Universitas Patimura Ambon in 2001. She obtained her Master of Food Science from School of Land and Food Resources, the University of Melbourne, Australia in 2006, and PhD in Food Science from School of Applied Sciences, Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, University Australia in 2015. Dr. Ellen is very active in conducting research. So far, she has conducted and published at least 40 research. Among them, 7 are published in Scopus Index Journal. Her latest journal published in this year are Automatic Segmentation for Synchrotron-Based Imaging of Porous Bread Dough using Deep Learning Approach, and Characteristic of Frozen Yogurt made with a variety of local banana plantains. She will be presenting a material titled Soy, Is It Beneficial or Harmful? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Amelia. Maybe give our time to Dr. Raka.
Okay, you're welcome.
Am I allowed to share my screen?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good morning to all of us. I would like to thank the organizers of this Science Talk series for giving me the chance to participate as a speaker. May I know if you are hearing me? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope that our audience will find this presentation interesting. Here are the objectives of my presentation. First is to introduce to the audience some important notations in the area of Hensta-Korsway integration theory. Second is to discuss the minimal integration problem. Third is to define the N integral. And lastly is to discuss what currently is being done about the problem. Here are some of my references for these presentations. In the book Non-Absolute Integration on Measure Spaces, the author, Professor Nang Willing, mentioned that theory of integration is the foundation of real analysis. A long time, there had been various definitions of integral, such as Riemann, Lebesgue, and Denjoy, to mention a few. In a way, Riemann integral is for continuous functions, and Lebesgue integral is for absolutely integrable functions. Well, in general, when it comes to integration, these two integrals, the Riemann and Lebesgue, has deficiencies, which is the source of the problem. Let us take a look at the constructive definition of the Riemann integral. To do this, let us compute the area under a curve bounded below by the x-axis and on the sides by the equations x equals a and x equals b. So basically, we are integrating a function represented by this curve on the closed and bounded interval AB. First step is to subdivide the interval AB as we see in the picture. I have used the word subdivide, but in what follows, instead of using it, I'll be using the term partition. In this example, I partitioned the interval AB into n subintervals in such a way that for a particular positive number delta, the length of each subinterval is less than delta. Here, our subintervals are the following: x sub 0, x sub 1, x sub 1, x sub 2, up to the subinterval x sub n minus 1, comma x sub n. An arbitrary interval among this is going to be represented or denoted by this notation x sub I minus 1, comma x sub I. After which, we select any point from each of the subinterval denoted by x sub I asterisk. This is any point within the interval, which we're going to call a tag. At this point, we now have a tagged partition, or for simplicity, we will just call a partition. And again, for simplicity, we will be using a more compact notation for a partition. So this is actually a collection of interval point pairs, where the interval is the subinterval and the point is the tag of the subinterval. Now that we already have a partition with tags, we will then form the rectangles whose heights are the function value of f at the tags and the width is the length of the subintervals. The area of each of these rectangle is equal to the product of the function value at the tag and the length of the subinterval. An approximation of the Riemann integral, denoted by this notation, is the summation of the area of the rectangles, which in turn, if you substitute the formula for the area of the rectangle, you'll have this expression. And we're going to call this expression the Riemann sum. From now on, there will be times that we will be using this notation to denote a tagged partition and correspondingly this notation for Riemann sum. Notice that the rectangles do not perfectly fit the region under the curve. As we see, on each top of the rectangles, there are errors. Recall that we required the length of the subintervals to be less than the positive number delta. If we choose smaller value of delta, then we are going to have smaller errors in the approximation of the integral. In general, the Riemann sum converge to the Riemann integral value as delta becomes closer and closer to zero? Well, right now, we were already introduced to the terms necessary for defining the Riemann integral of a function. Here is now the definition of Riemann integral in the book of Bartel. A real valued function f on the closed and bounded interval AB is said to be Riemann integrable if there exists a real number capital L such that for every positive number epsilon, there correspond a positive number delta such that if D is any partition whose subintervals are having length less than delta, then the absolute value of the difference between the Riemann sum and the real number L is less than epsilon. In this case, the capital L is now the Riemann integral of f on the closed and bounded interval AB. Let's take a look at this illustration. We want to find the integral of the function f of x equals x on the interval AB. First, we find an expression for an arbitrary Riemann sum. Since the tag x sub I asterisk is any element of the subinterval x sub I minus 1 comma x sub I, then we can express x sub I asterisk as the midpoint of the interval or of the subinterval plus a smaller number d sub I whose absolute value is less than or equal to the half of the measure of the subinterval. Simplifying this expression by applying distributive property and simplifying using product of sum and difference binomials, we get this expression. Further simplification using telescopic series will lead us to this value. The value 1/2 b squared minus a squared is our candidate to be the Riemann integral of the function over the closed and bounded interval AB. Since the absolute value of the d sub i's are less than delta over 2, then as delta approach to 0, the absolute value of the difference between the Riemann sum and the 1/2 b squared minus a squared becomes closer and closer to 0, and we can therefore conclude that 1/2 b squared minus a squared is the Riemann integral of the function over the closed and bounded interval AB. Well, the fundamental theorem of calculus provides us a more convenient way of computing Riemann integrals of functions. It states if f is continuous on a closed and bounded interval AB, then f has an antiderivative on the interval. Moreover, if capital F is any antiderivative of the small f function, then the Riemann integral of the small f function on the interval AB is actually the function value of the capital F at B minus the function value of capital F at A. Going back to our example earlier, with x squared over 2 as the antiderivative of x, we get also the same value for the integral, and that is 1/2 b squared minus a squared. Let me have this remark. The Riemann integration do not include unbounded functions. Another integral is needed to be introduced, and that is the improper Riemann integral. For example, if we want to compute the integral of the function 1 over square root of x on the closed and bounded interval AB, note that 1 over square root of x is not defined on x equals 0. So this is going to be a discontinuous function over the interval. In particular, x equals 0 is a point of discontinuity. Then all we need to do to compute this integral is to find a t between 0 and 8, then compute the integral of the function over t and 8, then get the limit as t approaches to 0, and you get 2 square root of 8. And as we see, improper Riemann integral is a limit of Riemann integrals. Here is the condition requiring the boundedness of the Riemann integrable functions. For Riemann integration, even if the length of your subintervals are the same, as long as they are all less than delta, then it would be still that the absolute value of the difference between the Riemann sum and the real number L is very small. The question is, what if this very strong condition is eliminated? If we eliminated it, the next question would be how to choose the partition whose corresponding Riemann sum will provide a better approximation of the integral, and how to include the unbounded functions in the set of integrable functions. One idea is that for an interval point pair, say ub comma x, when f prime of x is big, we want our length of the subinterval to be smaller. and therefore the tag cannot be freely chosen anymore. The condition is that instead of having the length of the subinterval less than delta, where delta is a constant, we will first have x to be element of the subinterval UB, and the subinterval UB should be contained in the open interval centered at x with radius delta of x, where delta is not just a constant anymore, but instead a positive function over the closed and bounded interval AB. This is the concept of delta fine. With these terms, we can now state the definition of the Henstock-Kurzweil integral. A real valued function f on a closed and bounded interval AB is said to be Henstock-Kurzweil integrable if there exists a real number L such that for every positive number epsilon, there exists a positive function delta called gauge, such that for any delta fine partition, we still have this inequality. And the real number L here is now the Henstock-Kurzweil integral of the function. I hope that we have seen what change had happened from Riemann to Henstock. So basically, it's like the constant delta has been changed to a positive function. With the Henstock-Kurzweil integral, not just that we can integrate unbounded functions, we can also integrate highly erratic functions. Let us take a look at this example, the Dirichlet function. The function value at x is 0 whenever x is irrational, and the function value is 1 whenever x is rational. Since for any subinterval UB, there exists a rational number and irrational number within it, then for a partition, you can always choose a set of tags so that the Riemann sum will be equal to 0. Correspondingly, we can also choose set of tags so that the Riemann sum would be equal to 1. Therefore, the Dirichlet function cannot be Riemann integrable. Since for Henstock integration, tags cannot be freely chosen anymore, we can then choose suitable gauge so that for a delta fine partition of the subinterval 0, 1, then the difference between the Riemann sum and 0 is small enough. Therefore, we can conclude that the Dirichlet function is actually Henstock-Kurzweil integrable on any subinterval in the real line. All Lebesgue integrable functions are Henstock-Kurzweil integrable. In particular, there is an equivalent definition for the Lebesgue integral using delta fine partition. We call that the McShane integral. This is the case for when an interval point pair, we are allowing x to be outside the interval UB or outside the subinterval UB. The Dirichlet function is McShane integrable. Here is a Venn diagram describing the containment of corresponding integrable functions respectively. Around year 2000, a paper describing a minimal solution to this integration problem was published, and the C integral is introduced. It is described as minimal extension of the Lebesgue integral, which also integrates the derivatives of differentiable functions. Again, this integral utilizes delta fine partitions. Still, there seems to be a deficiency since it cannot handle all the improper Riemann integrable function. Hence, finding minimal solution to the integration problem is still open. Now we're looking at a more clear picture of the minimal solution. The objective is to define an integral suitable for function close to being bare class 1. Bare class 1 functions are functions which are limits of sequence of continuous functions. So basically, the first step is to integrate functions close to being continuous. In our case, the almost everywhere continuous functions. So far, we know two ways to attain this. First, by constructive approach, and second, by generalizing the improper Riemann integral. For constructive approach, the idea is to start with a delta fine partition, then exclude the interval point pairs tagged at points of infinity. And the remaining pairs, and for the remaining pairs, allow the tag to be freely chosen within the subinterval. Here, therefore, is now the definition of the N integral. Comparing it to the previous definition, the difference is that in the Riemann sum, we are excluding those interval point pair whose tag is found in the avoided set. We actually have an avoided set here. And instead of X, the tag is asterisk or X asterisk, meaning we are allowing the tag to be replaced by any element of the subinterval UB. In this case, L is the n integral of the function over the closed and bounded interval AB. We can actually determine the null set S ahead of time, and it's actually the set S infinity, where S infinity is the set of points of infinity of a given function. Using this definition, it can be shown that for a function f, the following statements are equivalent. First, the function f is n integrable, and the second is the function f is hence the coarse-y integrable and continuous almost everywhere, attaining the objective. One of the idea for this integral is to treat points of continuity and points of discontinuity differently. There are Beer-1 functions whose set of discontinuity is of positive measure. There is therefore a shortcoming for the n integral. Recently, year 2016, a characterization of Beer-1 functions by describing their behavior in their point of discontinuity was published. Here, some topological properties of the set of discontinuity were described. Due to this, a generalization of n integral can be defined to cater all Beer-1 functions. It can be developed. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Abraham Braca. So let us have a little summary of what you have taught us. I think, sasabihin ko lang, I will just say agree. Everybody agree. So yeah, I also asked some help. So according to this, according to your topic, Henstock integral, the delta is variable. The delta is variable, while in Riemann integral, the delta is constant. Am I yan, Doc, no? All right.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you, Doc. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Edwin, for this. All right. So yeah, no. Actually, our next speaker. Would I introduce Ma'am Merbs, or you will be the one to introduce?
Yeah. Our first speaker is Dr. Helen Sidi Tuhumuri from Universitas Klabat. And she will be talking about one of the favorite things that we want to eat in the bio department, Sir Harry's. That is soy.
Soy.
Beneficial or harmful. So let us now give our time to Dr. Helen.
Thank you. Let me share my presentation for today.
I think you can share, Ma'am. I hear a lot. Okay.
Okay, good morning, everyone. For those in Thailand and the western part of Indonesia, and here in eastern part of Indonesia, we already in the afternoon, so good afternoon. I'm grateful to be in this forum, to be given a chance to present my talk. So entitled Soy, is it beneficial or is it harmful? I'm sure that everyone here in this meeting has consumed some kind of soy product. For example, like in Indonesia, we usually consume soy in the form of tempeh and tofu. And while in other places, it may be in the form of soy milk or soy sauce, miso, and many other soy products. So for healthy diets and sustainable food productions, it is now advised that plant-based food be consumed more and the animal-based food be consumed less. It is first because animal-based food through meat productions has severe effects or impact on the environment, as has been mentioned before, but from the previous speaker about the global warming. So one of the strategy to reduce the global warming is also consuming the plant-based food, because the livestock productions mainly contribute to almost 14% of the all greenhouse gas emissions. So if we're shifting to a plant-based food, actually we're helping the environment. And the second issue is regarding the food safety. Mostly meat production or meat consumption contain saturated fat and cholesterol. That's why it's a big food safety issue. And for the animal welfare organization now has pressure to say that consuming animal-based food is actually cruel to the animals. So therefore, there is a shift to the consumptions of plant-based food that mostly provide protein for us. And however, the plant-based protein are sometimes lack of certain essential amino acids and are less digestible compared to the animal proteins. But that's not really the case. Like, we don't have to eat meat to get adequate amounts of proteins. And animal proteins typically contains more protein per serving than the vegetables proteins, and often considered a complete protein because it contains all the 9 essential amino acids that our bodies cannot make on their own. But many plant food do not contain all the 9 amino acids and are sometimes referred to incomplete proteins. But it turns out that we don't need to take in all the 9 essential amino acids at once for this to happen, as long as we eat a variety of food over the course of our days that collectively contain all the essential amino acids, and our body has the raw materials it needs to make proteins. So in other words, the more the varied the diet, the better. So among all the plant-based food, soybeans are an important source of plant-based protein. Soybeans, with its scientific names, glycine max, are native to Asia and have a long history of use as food crop and commercial commodity, and they are an important component of Asian diets and have been consumed for thousands and thousands of years. And today they are mainly grown in Asia and also in South and North America. And the 3 most available soybeans that we know is yellow, black, and green soybean, which is sometimes called edamame. And in Japan, for example, there are like 7 types of soybeans already. And as consumers have pursued healthier lifestyles in recent years, consumption of soy has been risen steadily and encouraged by scientific studies showing the benefits of these products or the benefits of soy. Soybeans are exceptional foods because of their rich nutrient content. And these legumes contain complex carbohydrates, proteins, dietary fiber, oligosaccharides, phytochemicals, vitamins, and minerals. As we can see, the nutrition facts for 100 grams of boiled soybeans in this slide or in this table, we can see that soybeans are among the best sources of proteins. And the protein content is roughly about 36 to 56% of the dry weight of the bean. And the fat content is approximately 18% of the dry weight, but mainly it's the polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fatty acids with small amounts of the saturated fat. And the predominant type of fat in soybeans is linoleic acid, which is accounting for approximately 50% of the total fat content of the soybean. On this slide, I just tried to show you some of the products that using soy as ingredients. Soy can be used as a nut and edamame as a green soy. There is also a soybean oil, texture proteins, which is usually used as a meat substitute. There is soya flour, cheese, a mayonnaise, yogurt. Tamari is some kind of soya sauce, but when making it without the addition of wheat. And tofu, soyu is also a soya sauce, and miso is fermented soya paste that sometimes used in the soup, and dochi, soya milk, and tempeh, and also a sweet soya sauce. Despite the rich nutrient content, especially protein, there's also a compound in soy that is responsible for delivering significant debatable issues as to whether soy is healthy or harmful, and it is a soy isoflavone. So isoflavones are phenolic compounds that possesses both estrogen agonist and estrogen antagonist properties. And for this reason, they are classified as phytoestrogens. It's a plant-derived compounds with estrogenic activity. And in soybeans, isoflavones are present as glycosides, that is bound to a sugar molecule. And the process of the digestion or the fermentations of the soybeans or soya products will result in the release of the sugar molecule from the isoflavone and leaving an isoflavone a glycon. So in this picture is the molecular structures of the three isoflavone a glycan after the releasing of the sugar molecule. Is the three are diethane, glycetane, and the one is the genistein. So the three glycan isoflavone glycans that contributes to the effect of soy in our body. So when it comes to soy, is it good or bad? We will look into the health benefits of soy, and most of them are based on scientific findings regarding the role of soy isoflavones and soy protein. And first, the health benefits of soy is the cholesterol lowering effects. And a number of human studies have shown that the daily consumption of 30 grams to 60 grams of soy protein contributes to a decrease in the total and LDL cholesterol of between 10% to 20% in individuals who have already have higher number of elevated serum cholesterol in their blood. And greater cholesterol lowering effects were observed as the level of the naturally occurring isoflavone in soy protein is increased. So it might be possible to say that soy isoflavones will be much effective in lowering LDL as applied together with the soy proteins. So it is better for us to consume the whole soy product rather than the isolated soy products that contain soy isoflavone for itself. So the synergistic effects of the soy isoflavone and soy proteins is greater to the effects of lowering the LDL. And for such reductions in the over the time, we will have a significant impact on the preventions of the cardiovascular diseases. So like soy proteins with isoflavones, some of the finding has shown that soy protein with isoflavones and soy isoflavone itself may potentially inhibit the atherosclerosis and improve systematic arterial compliance and reactivity in our arteries, that thereby contributions to the prevention of cardiovascular diseases. Another health effects that is good for consuming soy is also bone strengthening effects. And the study showed that the intakes of 40 to 100 milligrams of soy isoflavones per day may reduce bone loss and improve markers of bone health in menopausal women. So the osteoporosis happen when in a postmenopausal woman, and it is good to consuming the soy to reduce the bone loss. Another health effect is also the anti-carcinogenic effects. And some studies have found that the lower risk of dying in women with breast cancer. So women already have a breast cancer, but they continually consuming the soy, and it results in a lower risk of dying. And also the lower risk of endometrial and digestive tracts and prostate cancers. Other health benefits of the soy, also the diabetes management, because the soy isoflavone may also help lower insulin resistance. It's the condition in which cell no longer responds to insulin normally. So over time, if insulin resistance can result in high blood sugar levels and lead to type 2 diabetes. And consuming soy with the soy isoflavones can help lower the insulin resistance. So whether we're reading a popular article, there are lots of popular articles regarding soybeans or soya products, or a well-designed clinical study about soy, some debate remains. And some nutrition scientists often label soy as a food with potential for significant health benefits. However, due to the contrary research that suggests possible negative effects, we have to look at the possible health risk of consuming soy as well. So the first is the estrogen mimicking effects. Soy isoflavones often thought to mimic the female reproductive hormone estrogen. So that's why on the previous slide I've mentioned that it's phytoestrogen, because it's mimic the estrogen activity. And soy, although they are similar in structure to this hormone, soy isoflavones have a weaker and slightly different effects than the estrogen. So the other health risks of consuming soy is also cancer risks. Some people believe, and some study have shown that soy isoflavone may raise the risk of breast or endometrial cancer because of these estrogen mimicking effects. However, most of the studies find no negative effect, and in some cases they may even offer some protections to protection against certain cancers, as I mentioned before in the health benefits of the soy. And there's also a concern regarding consuming soy with our thyroid function, and Most of the study regarding the thyroid function is done with in vitro tests and also the animal studies, and find actually in human study they found no negative effects, especially in human with healthy thyroid functions. So it's a risk, but the study is done in animal studies and in vitro. And also some concern about consuming soy formula is a danger to babies because they can represent the hormone, the estrogen, so it will be negatively affect the brain, the sexual orientation, the thyroid, and also immune development of the babies. But the studies still have failed to observe long-term effect of these negative effects. Some concerning regarding GMO, because many soybeans product in United States, for example, are producing by genetically modified organisms. So GMO soy may present fewer nutrients and also more herbicide residue, because if the GMO is usually developed to resist for the herbicide, so they may apply more herbicide, but the GMO is the soybean is not affected. And the other health concern is the anti-nutrients, which is phytic acid as anti-nutrients in soybeans, and the content of the phytic acid may lower the body's ability to absorb the vitamins and the minerals the soybean contain. So the process of soaking or sprouting or fermenting and cooking are the ways to reduce these anti-nutrients in soybeans. The other health concern is the digestive issue, and possibly resulting in the inflammations, and all these digestive issue is studied using the animal studies, so it's not really confirmed for the human, and we need more human study to confirm these health risks. So debate regarding the soy remains, and it is important, as we are in the theme for this talk is catalyzing scientific culture. We need to critically analyze the results of every studies regarding soy. So it appears that the controversy, the different actions of soy was primarily due to the type of study itself. Is it being examined in a study with animals or with humans? So we can have a proper conclusion about the effect of the soy. So some soy may be metabolized differently in animals, so the outcomes of the animal study may not be applicable to humans. And the second factor is ethnicity. Most of the studies regarding soy is conducted in different ethnics, and soy may be broken down and used in the body differently in the different ethnic groups. For example, like in Asia, that already consume the soy for longer years, and individuals from some countries who eat a lot of soy appear to benefit from the from this food, while from others they not really pose a significant effect to people who rarely consume the soy. So for the next one is the hormone levels. Because soy can have estrogenic properties, its effect can vary depending on the existing levels of hormones in the body. And the last is the type of soy. What type of soy is being studied? Is it a whole soy food such as tofu or soybeans, processed versions like a soy protein powders or soy burgers? Is it a fermented or is it unfermented soy foods? If it is in the form of isolate or the supplements, today contain isoflavones or soy proteins? That's some sort of questions that need to be asked if we want to properly address the controversy about the soy. Is it harmful, or is it helpful, or is it harmful? So to come to a conclusion, or for my talk today, just say that soy is unique food that is widely studied for its estrogenic and anti-estrogenic effects on the body. And studies may seem to present conflicting conclusions about soy, but this is largely due to the wide variations in how soy is studied. And soy is a nutrient-dense source of proteins that can be safely consumed several times a week and is likely to provide health benefits, especially when eaten as an alternative to red and processed meat. So for the takeaways of this regarding the debate of the soy, it's better for us to avoid the excessive intake of soy and to avoid the heavily refined or the processed soy, and it's better to consume the cooked soy or fermented soy, and also better to choose the natural soy product. Also, as the Socrates says, the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Helen. We love hearing more about one of our favorite foods, soy. Okay, I know a lot of you here are consuming soy in a daily basis, maybe by drinking soya milk, or maybe tofu, or maybe yogurt. Yeah, but as what Dr. Helen said, it's still better. It's a better alternative for protein, for our protein need compared to it's way better compared to eating meat. Okay, so I think we have several questions posted already on our chat box, and we have been collecting all those questions. And if you still have questions for our speaker and the previous speakers, you can still put in your questions in the chat box. Now, I'll be giving the time for the question and answer session to the Faculty of Science Dean of AIU, Dr. Elvin Walemba.
Thank you very much, our MCs, and thank you for all the presenters this morning and this afternoon for those of you in Eastern Indonesia. We have a number of questions from the very informative presentations that we have had this morning. We have more than, let me see here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 11 questions. So I will start off by asking the first question to each presenter, allowing them to answer. And then if we still have time, we will go to a second question for each presenter. I will start off by asking in the order in which the questions came, but more precisely in the order in which the presenters presented. The first question is from Mernil Joy Galang from AUP, and it is for Dr. Anthony. The question is, what statistical analysis was done to compare the results of the iron content from uncooked, cooked, and pot liquor?
Yeah, actually already I have replied on Zooms. Actually, I've done only Excel study. SPS study is underway. Maybe within 2 weeks, I'll be getting the report from SPS study. Then I'll be uploading about the report.
Thank you very much. So the data presented was has not yet been statistically analyzed. Dr. Anthony is currently doing that. And when it is ready, he will share it with members who have attended this conference. Thank you very much. The first question for Dr. Dolly is from Jethro Sulano from AUP. Good morning, Dr. Dolly. Thank you for your presentation. Recent studies during the pandemic have shown that although carbon emissions lowered, this was only a small drop in the overall concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere. From this observation, how fruitful or how beneficial is lowering our individual and collective carbon footprints?
Thank you for the questions. Yes, I agree that based on the recent studies, whatever we do is only give a very small effect in carbon dioxide reduction in the atmosphere. That's true. So my explanation is that let us do our best, because we all know that this world is going to an end. We cannot do much about it, but let us do our best, even though it is only give a small effect to the reduction of carbon dioxide, and give the rest to our Lord and Savior. Thank you, Jethro, for the observation.
Thank you, Dr. Dolly. Our next question is for Dr. Helen, and it is from, again, Mernil Joy Galan from AUP. The question is, I love soy products and came across soy iflavonone in one of my studies before. There are many good health benefits of soy. However, some of my non-Adventist colleagues were skeptical about consuming soy products because of the potential alteration of reproductive status. What can you say about this?
Yeah, thank you for the questions. I'm the one who is a favor for the how to consume the soy, because it is good and have health benefits. For the information, I'm not the Seventh Adventist, but my mom is a Seventh Adventist, and I try to answer this because there is a controversy about the soy, whether it's good or it's bad. Maybe you can tell them that actually the effect is depending for the reproductive status, as you asked, because the soy isoflavones is the phytoestrogens and have the mimic of the estrogen activity and may affect the reproductive status. But most of the studies regarding these effects on the reproductive status is depending on the hormonal level itself. So it doesn't mean that the people who have higher estrogen levels will be impacted by these studies, the soy isoflavones. So it's better for you, if someone is very skeptical about this, you can say that it depends on the studies that are being done. It's depending on the hormone level itself, and it's still good to consume the soy isoflavones despite all the controversy about the bad or the health concerns of the soy products. Maybe that's my answers.
Thank you very much, Dr. Helen. I hope it has answered the question. I feel that we may be able to ask one more question of each presenter, and so I will ask for your indulgence as I go through the questions and ask one more question from each presenter. The next question for Dr. Anthony from Mernil Joy Galang is, can you please clarify where the iron from pot liquor came from, considering that the iron in raw vegetables seems to be lower for all tested plants?
Dr. Wallenberg, can you repeat once again?
Can you clarify where the iron from the pot liquor came from, considering that the iron in the raw vegetable is lower?
Yes, actually, when we cook 5 to 10 minutes, we notice that the iron concentration is constant. But beyond means more than many journal also reported that when we cook more than 15 minutes, the concentration of iron is coming down. So we can maintain by cooking 5 to 10 minutes. Especially we can say the steaming. When we steam the green leaf vegetables, we would be able to get sufficient quantity of iron.
So I think if I understand the question is, if you take the raw vegetable, it has a certain amount of iron, but if you boil, you have a greater amount of iron in the liquor. Did it come from the plant? And if it came from the plant, how come it does not show up in the raw plant? I think that's the question.
Actually, when we steam the green leaf vegetables, we would be able to extract a large quantity of iron, because our body system, when we I understand, as compared with this raw and this boil, the research reveals that when we steam, large quantity of iron is extractable. Not only my research, many other research also shows same thing. Because of the steaming, it would be able to extract.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Anthony. Question for Dr. Doley. Thank you, Dr. Doley. Your presentation was very informative. What are your recommendations for our student research in relation to the impact of global warming with respect to the 4 universities participating today? So what recommendations would you give to the 4 institutions to encourage their students to do research with regards to global warming?
Yes, my recommendation is if there is a possibility for our students in the 4 university to research on the effect of methane in the increase of global warming at this time. Methane comes from carbon dioxide. There are so many research in carbon dioxide already, but less on methane. So I recommend if the students can do research on methane in the atmosphere that can affect our temperature on Earth. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Doley. Another question for Dr. Helen from Linda Buell at AUP. The question is the nutritive effect or the nutrition in soy affected by whether the soy is organic versus GMO?
I think the nutrition content of the soy, whether it's organic or just a conventional grown soy and a GMO soy, is still remain similar. The nutritive content. If the GMO soybeans that is mostly produced by the United States or the in America, they produce actually soybeans is genetically modified to be more resistant to herbicides. So they applied herbicides to kill the weed, but the soy is not affected by these herbicides. So the possible risk for the soy GMO of soy is this residue of the herbicides. If they're using, for example, like in country that allow the use of GMO with, for example, like soy as ingredients, GMO soy is allowed, then you have to be careful with the herbicide residue, because GMO soybean is resistant to herbicide, therefore farmers apply more herbicides to it. So there is a possible of the residue of the herbicide in the soy products if country are using the GMO products. Maybe that's my answers.
Thank you very much, Dr. Helen, Dr. Dolly, Dr. Anthony, and also Dr. Abraham for your presentations and also for answering the questions. I see the time is well spent, so I will hand over to the MCs. However, if you do have a question, we will forward these questions to the speakers, and we will have them answer the questions, written answer, and then supply them to the 4 institutions to disseminate to whoever wanted to hear an answer to these questions. Once again, thank you for attending. Thank you for your questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Walemba, for facilitating our question and answer session. The awarding of certificates will be moved after the closing remarks. So we will be having the closing remarks by the president of AIU, Dr. Siroj Surajukul. Shall we now give our time to Dr. Siroj?
Hi, good afternoon. I am here on behalf of the president of Dr. Siroj. Okay, so I am here. I am the vice president for academic administration. So Dr. Siroj has given the task to me. Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon, the rest of you who are already in the afternoon in some part of the world. And I would like to convey sincere appreciation for the organization of this event. As mentioned by Dr. Walemba a while ago, this has been a time very well spent. And I think there are a few Thanksgiving in order. First of all, I would like to express my appreciation to the careful organization of the event. Not only we have good presentations, but we also enjoyed beautiful musical performance. The Unai Science Choir reminded us, when we don't understand, we can still trust God. And Dr. Anthony from AIU helped us to know what's the best way to get more iron content from our vegetables. So it looks like cooking. Fortunately, I think many of us probably prefer cooked food to raw food, will allow to extract more iron from the vegetables that we eat. Okay. Now, and Mr. Dolly from Unai reminded us of the effects of sin in the environment, right? I think it's been several thousand years since the creation of the world, and the world is getting very old. And so he said the solution that we are looking forward to is the second coming of Jesus. But meanwhile, there might be things here and there that we can do to help, to do whatever we can do in the little corner of the world where we are at. It might not be big, but I think we can all act locally, and this local action may have global impact. So thank you for reminding us of not only of the problem we are facing, but in reminding us of the problem, you also have given us hope in a better future. Thank you for that. And you know, the music from the Unai Angklung Ensemble was really beautiful. I've always enjoyed, I'm always amazed how beautiful sound beautiful music can come from bamboo, right? From the environment. This is all made from bamboo, but put together, they create beautiful music. And once again, we are reminded of the great creator we have. Now, and then we have Dr. Abraham Raka from AUP. He has helped me to feel very humble because I don't understand most of what he said. Okay, it's not my, it's not something that I feel very comfortable with. But as Dr. Helen said at the end of her presentation, the only true wisdom is in knowing that I know nothing. Remember, toward the end, so there is wisdom in realizing that there are a lot of things I don't know. But thank you, Dr. Raka, for presenting from something that is mysterious to us. But I mean, to some of us, I'm sure it makes perfect sense to many of us, and we are very grateful for your contribution today. And then Dr. Helen helped us to appreciate the humble soy, and also at the same time recognizing that there could be some negative impacts when we don't prepare or use the right ingredients. And so thank you for alerting us to this very helpful information and giving us tips on how we can best benefit from the humble soy. And thank you as well. I just want to appreciate our MCs today. I really appreciate your cheerfulness. Miss, I'm sorry if I don't pronounce your name correctly. Is it Merbeth? Miss Merbeth Pedro and Mr. Harris Catilico, thank you. I really appreciate your cheerfulness. And I was just thinking how nice it will be to see all of you in person. But I think the time will come. So I would like to commend all the faculties from the 4 institutions. I think I think this is the UNAI Faculty of Science, the AUP College of Science and Technology, okay, and the AIU Faculty of Science and the UNCLAD Faculty of Agriculture. Thank you very much for your contribution to making this time very informative, and we have been blessed because in all of this, we learn what is good for our health, and we have been reminded of our hope in our Creator. And today is Friday, so we wish everyone a happy preparation day for the Sabbath. And thank you for the rest of the participants who also helped. The welcome remarks from the rector of UNAI, and also those who have introduced the speakers, Dr. Evin Balila from AUP, and also from Miss Amelia Tanasela from UNCLAB, and for Dr. Walemba's management of the Q&A session. And I think toward the end, we will have the presentation of the certificate by Dr. Ruben Suituno from UNAI. Thank you for that. And also the closing prayer from, I think this is Mr. Dexter, AUP. Yeah, Mr., right? It doesn't say anything here, but it looks like a male name. So once again, thank you everyone for your heartfelt contribution to the discussion today. And I wish everyone a good day and a blessed weekend. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, for the awarding of certificates, let us have Dr. M. Ruben Suwotono, Faculty of Science, Dean, Universitas Advent, Indonesia.
Thank you for time for me to give the certificate. Today we have listened a lot of information that have been conveyed by our four speakers. It is my honor to present certificates of appreciation to all of the speakers today. Certificate of appreciation awarded to Anthony Swami Tangiah, PhD, as speaker entitled Determination of Iron Content in 6 Indigenous Green Leafy Vegetables consumed in Muaklek, Thailand, using spectrophotometer. At the second Science Talk webinar held on 8 October 2021, with the first catalyzing scientific culture signed by 4 deans of Faculty of Science of AIU, AUP, UNAI, and UNCLAB. And this is the second certificate of appreciation awarded to Doli Situmiang MPH, a speaker entitled "The Earth is on Fire: The Effect of Global Warming to Humankind," at the second Science Talk webinar held on 8 October 2021 with the theme Catalyzing Scientific Culture, signed by 4 deans of Faculty of Science, AIU, AUP, UNAI, and UNCLAB. And the third certificate of appreciation awarded to Abraham Raka, PhD, as a speaker entitled "The N Integral" at the second Science Talk webinar held on 8 October 2021 with the theme Catalyzing Scientific Culture, signed by 4 dean of Faculty of Science of AIU, AUP, UNAI, and UNCLAB. And the fourth certificate is awarded to Dr. Helen Tuhumuri, a speaker entitled "Soy, Is It Beneficial or Harmful?" at the second Science Talk webinar held on 8 October 2021 with the theme Catalyzing Scientific Culture, signed by 4 dean of Faculty of Science of AIU, AUP, UNAI, and UNCLAB. This is the virtual certificate that we can give, but I would like to express also my gratitude for the Dr. Bartholomeus Nainggolan as president of UNAI, who gave this opening speech, and Mrs. Rita Maidom as Vice President Academic of AIU, who just gave the very cheerful closing remarks. Thank you, Ma'am Rita. I think Dr. Nainggolan is not here. And also, my beloved friend, this is the Deans of Science, Dr. Elvin Walemba, the Dean of Faculty of Science AIU, Dr. Edwin Balila, Dean of College of Science and Technology AUP in the Philippines, and Insinyur Amelia Tanasale, Dean of Faculty of Agriculture, UNCLAB, which give a lot of effort to prepare this event. And I believe with continuing this next Science Talk, we will meet again and again. Yes, this is our beloved friend, the 4 deans of science, including me. And we hope we will soon meet again for the next Science Talk, the 3rd Science Talk, which is should be hosted by AIU for the next. We plan on the November actually, but this program is bi-monthly, so I don't know, maybe some adjustment in that schedule. AIU be ready for the next Science Talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ruben. We look forward to the 3rd Science Talk series. Okay. Yes. So before we end, Sir Harris, would you like to say something before we have our closing prayer?
Just to thank everybody for joining our second Science Talk, and we are hoping for another, and probably next year, if God permits, we can have our face-to-face third Science Talk. So if God permits, that will happen. And we would like to thank everybody, especially the participating universities. And yeah, okay, Ma'am Mervs.
Okay, so again, we look forward the next meeting, and we look forward to meeting you, everyone, not just our presenters, not just the deans, but also all the participants that have attended our webinar today. We thank you for attending our webinar, and we look forward for your next attendance in the upcoming webinars in the future. So,
yes.
By the way, don't forget to click the link for the evaluation and for the attendance, because those links, the informations that you will be inputting there will be needed for generating your certificates. I think a lot of you will be needing certificates to present your teachers, especially those students in our classes. Okay, so make sure that you will not forget, and do not leave after the closing prayer, because we will be having our picture taking.
Okay, so yeah, shall we now give Sir Dexter Pajarito for the closing prayer?
All right, shall we pray? Heavenly Father, thank you so much, Lord, for blessing this meeting. And thank you so much for granting wisdom to our beloved speakers. And thank you also for giving us wisdom, receptive mind, as we listen to the talks this afternoon. We pray, dear God, that the lesson, the topics that we have learned today will bring us closer to you, how wonderful your creations are, and help us to be equipped more as educators. Bless us today as we prepare for Sabbath, and we pray that you please grant us more wisdom as we explore your creation. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Sir
Amen and
Dexter.
amen. Thank you very much.
Okay, so Ma'am Merv, what will be our sequence for our picture taking today? Naka-mute ka, Ma'am Mervs. Ma'am, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. I think we'll have to give the time to the our science.com committee. Yeah. From Unai, I think they will be the one who will be taking our pictures. So please, everyone, turn on your camera. We will be doing this per page. So may I request all? Yeah. There are 216 people here.
Again.
Yes.
So everyone, please turn on your camera as the Science Talk Committee will be taking our pictures.
Okay.
So I think we will have to change into gallery view.
Yeah, we are now in gallery view. All right. We have 9 pages. Okay, so let us know if we're going to have the next page for the picture taking.
Okay, so everyone, please turn on your camera. So, or I know if someone is already taking a picture, or if not, I think I'll have to do screenshot of everyone. Okay, just a second. I will have to set up my.
So, meaning to say, let's remain smiling until the end of the last.
Okay, just a second. Publisher. Okay, I will have to put the pictures on publisher. Okay, everyone, 1, 2, 3, smile for the first page. Okay. Next screen, there are 5. Okay, so keep smiling. Okay, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's still loading. Just a second. Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, so that's the second page. Oh, it's still loading. Sorry. My internet connection is not working fast today. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I think we can go to the third page. 1, 2, 3.
Smile.
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 Okay. So 2 more pages. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Everyone, please turn on your camera so that you will be included in the picture taking. Okay, last page. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay. So thank you very much. And happy Sabbath. I hope you have learned a lot I learned a lot from our speakers, and I hope you did too.
Yes, especially Dr. Raka. We would like to hear a lot from your topic. Yes. I will always say agree, you know. Okay, so I think, Ma'am Merv, this ends our scientific talk today. And we appreciate.
We would like to invite you for the third science talk. Okay, we will be posting details soon. Okay, goodbye everyone, and happy Sabbath.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
For the MCs.
Yeah, thank you for the organizers.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Yeah. And signing off now. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ma'am
Okay,
Merbs.
so
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Doctor.
thank you, Doc,
Thank you.
Edwin,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank
and
you,
Ma'am
MC.
Amelia.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.